Today on the GrandLAN video blog, Action Comics. Batman Cacophony. Detective Comics. Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane. And Wolverine. Hey everyone, it's Craig. Welcome to the GrandLAN video blog for books that came out on November 12th, 2008. We're going to talk about some Marvel stuff and some DC stuff in this episode. And then the next episode, by popular demand, is going to be all indie books. No Marvel, no DC in part 2. So if that's your thing, go ahead and skip ahead to part 2. But we prefer you watch this one too, because you never know. You might chuckle. You might enjoy it a little bit. First up this week, get my stack in order here. Action Comics, number 871. Part 4 of the new Krypton storyline. Jeff Johns and Pete Woods are on this, and they're still doing an amazing job. Gary Frank is off the book. Brad and I had a little difference of opinion on that. Brad thought that he preferred Gary Frank's art. I like Pete Woods' art. It works well. It's not too much of a drastic change, but I think in general it looks better than Gary Frank's stuff. Again, the new Krypton story is just heading forward full steam. Really good stuff, top to bottom. It's very exciting to see. I have to correct myself. Previously I said that Jamal Igle was writing Supergirl. He's drawing Supergirl. Sterling Gates is writing Supergirl. So you have Sterling Gates, Jeff Johns, and help me out here, Superman. James Robinson. Three great writers. An amazing storyline folding out. You know, obviously we had some issues with the one-shots before, but overall this story is going to be very exciting and intriguing. It's going to be interesting to see where they go with it. It's good stuff all around. Definitely check this out. If you're into Superman, this is the best the Superman books have ever been in a long, long time. I can't even think of the last time Superman was this good. Definitely well before Infinite Crisis. Next up, Batman Cacophony. Kevin Smith has returned. He's brought his friend Walt Flanagan, Walt the fanboy. Appears in the movies. If you watch any of Kevin Smith's movies, he'll say, "Tell him, Steve Dave." Yeah. I'm not a big fan of his art, but he seems to straighten it out pretty well here. You know, he does a pretty good job knowing that he's dealing with some serious stuff. This is his big break. He previously worked for IDW, did some stuff for a series called Carney, and it was kind of, you know, it was IDW. It looked very IDW. It's almost a house style over there. Overall, this is a hilarious book. Exactly what we expect from Kevin Smith. The dialogue drives the story here. It's an interesting idea, a couple of unique things that come out of it, and that's nice because you see when you have somebody like Kevin Smith who, yes, tells, you know, poop jokes all day to pay his bills. At the end of the day, he has some interesting ideas that comic writers haven't touched on. So he brings in some unique ideas right here. They look really nice. He's writing Joker very well. There's more of a focus on Joker than there is on Batman, but it's, like I said, it's the year of the Joker. It's, you know, with The Dark Knight, everybody wants to write about the Joker. Nobody wants to actually write about Batman. So, with that said, Kevin Smith, Walt Flanagan. It is a $3.99 book, and it is regular size. I guess that extra $1's going to Adam Kubert because he did the cover. Very Joe Quesada style, as Brad said. You know, I don't know if it's necessarily worth $3.99 for a regular size book. Again, this is something that's kind of in my craw right now. So if you don't mind paying $3.99 for a regular size book to, you know, pay for the big names Adam Kubert and Kevin Smith, yeah, you're right here. Otherwise, wait for the trade because it's going to be a good read either way. It's definitely a good read regardless of the price point. So check it out. Next up, Detective Comics 850. The end of the Batman RIP arc here. Paul Dini and Dustin Nguyen wrap up the Catwoman Hush Batman storyline with some very good character development for Hush. Dini has done a ton of good things for Hush in the course of this storyline. He's definitely made the character refined. We see that he's coming back in the future. He's supposedly involved in the battle for the cowl, if you believe the DC teaser images that went up recently. It's good stuff. It wraps up the storyline well. Definitely has a postscript that leads right into January, which is not Neil Gaiman anymore. It is now Dini and Nguyen doing Detective and Batman in January. So if you're a Batman fan, first of all, you're looking forward to the end of Batman RIP with Grant Morrison. Then you have two Grant Morrison stories in Batman, both in December. A third issue of Batman in December, that's part 2 of the Denny O'Neil story. That's going to appear in Detective and Batman in December, at least according to their website. And then in January, Dini and Nguyen on Detective and on Batman for a Faces of Evil crossover. with Catwoman and Hush, obviously. So this definitely is the direction Batman books are going, at least for the foreseeable future at the start of 2009. We'll see when Neil Gaiman's book comes in and, you know, the rest of the stuff goes on from there. But this is definitely a good omen for the series. It's good stuff. It's very exciting. I love Paul Dini's work. Obviously, I've been saying this for years. Check it out. If you're not reading it, I don't know why. Over to the Marvel side, Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane, number 4 of 5. Terry Moore at it again. A whole lot of nothing happens. It's not really a surprise. It's not a wild change or departure in the series from anything we've seen before. It's really not going anywhere. It's disappointing, and it's quite simply disappointing. There are no other words for me to describe it. Sean McKeever's work far outclasses this. That's what this title is about. It's obviously lost its heyday. Terry Moore's spinning his wheels. He's got one issue left, and I'm kind of actually happy about that because I don't have to sit through much more of it. You know, as a Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane completist, I have to read it all, obviously, because I am crazy. But overall, pass on it. Lastly, I wasn't going to read this, but I was convinced that I had to. Old Man Logan, Wolverine 69, Part 4 of the 8-part Old Man Logan story by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven, Civil War team. This, I'm so glad that Brad and Eric talked me into this. Eric, our owner, and Brad, obviously, our co-video bloggy. This is such a fun book. This is an action movie that is unlike anything you've seen before. There's so many little things. There's mentions like when they drive through Paste Pot Creek. If you don't know who Paste Pot Pete is, then obviously you're not going to get that reference. But if you do, it's just a little thing that Mark Millar's dropping in there for you to say, hey, enjoy. It's funny. And just to see so much history that you didn't get to see, but to see these characters interact with that history and go, oh man, well what about that? Well, after the such and such rebellion, you know, and to see the Marvel Universe in that sort of state, it's a really wicked cool idea. And Millar is doing a really good job. McNiven's art is obviously just awesome, and it's a thrill ride, just like Millar writes. When Millar and Hitch run Ultimates, this is how he wrote Ultimates. It's a thrill ride. He's not trying to accomplish anything. He's trying to give you a good read. People are supposed to be jumping out of flaming buildings, you know, rappelling down the sides of things, having tremendous fights, and that's exactly what this book is about. It's on part 4 of 8, so I'd say wait for the trade, but you got 4 more issues, and we know how Mark Millar likes deadlines. So it might be a while before this comes out in trade, plus Marvel will probably hardcover it for about 6 months before they actually put it in a floppy form. So if you can track down the 3rd or 4th or whatever printing that the first 4 are on, definitely do so. It is $2.99. It's a regular sized book. It's amazing. Well worth the price. Probably the best mainstream book I read this week. So I thought it was a good book when I reviewed the first couple, and it's continuing. It just keeps going. Nothing more good can be said by this book. Definitely. That's it for this installment. Come back for part 2. We'll have some indie books for you.